the project that I have been working on entailed 2 sets of surveys over 2 years, 2 cohorts, identifying the sort of experiences of students transitioning out of school into their first year of university at Southampton in humanities. And one of the kind of common themes of that research was that students felt they didn't know how to produce bibliographies. They wanted more input on writing and reading and you know, working in groups and sort of performing to their best. And they specifically did identify a concern that they weren't equipped with the skills that they needed to succeed at university in their school training. So the skills module kind of came in part out of their students' own recommendations. We started out using the social sciences module and pretty much followed the approach that they had taken because the social sciences were quite clear based on the feedback that they'd received that it was adequate and in fact well received by students. One of the main benefits, I think, was being able to work directly with their postgraduate teaching assistant. Because the nature of the module was such that there was a fair amount of group discussion and opportunities to ask personal questions, that PGTAs were able to kind of respond in a very kind of personal and humane way that you might not, and probably wouldn't have gotten from a lecturer. You know, the module was always intended to provide them with some basics to improve their kind of success rates at university. And I think that some of the activities that we scheduled into the program for the module did exactly that. I think that one of the most difficult things was working with a pre-existing set of content, including slides, PowerPoint slides, and a kind of knowledge base that had been generated by a different set of disciplines. The approach that the social sciences use is very, very different than humanities, because I think that there's a natural presumption amongst humanities scholars that students come in with a fairly good and rigorous foundational sort of knowledge, and that you therefore don't have to patronize to the students. Sometimes the slides that we had available to us from the social sciences were quite simple, too simple, and the critiques that we received from students is they did feel like it wasn't advanced enough, and what they would have liked is something that actually challenged them to be better and do better, rather than essentially taught them stuff that they felt that they already knew and didn't elaborate their skill sets. So yeah, I would say that the most difficult aspect was having to grapple with this sort of already laid out framework that was not specific to humanities in any way. I think that one of the other negatives of the module that was identified by the students was a concern that they would profit more from discipline-specific training in these academic skills rather than kind of a general humanities-oriented training. Yeah, the first major recommendation I would make is to ensure that it is tailored to the humanities from the outset. I wouldn't try to transfer somebody else's content to another discipline, because that's where all of the problems that we had to navigate over the course of the semester arose. You know, concern about the content being too simple or too complex or whatever it was, almost always related to the fact that what we had produced came from social sciences. It didn't come from the humanities.